Well, that didn't take long. This morning was just a chassis. Welcome back. Now, I know you used to see Econoline on this ramp, and if you've seen the previous video, you know that this is the project in between, because Econoline had to be put on stop, on the pause for a few months while we're waiting for some tools. And in meantime, we're doing this project, which is supposed to be done after, but we fit it in between because again that has to be on the hold for a minute. And also because Econoline took a very crazy step forward and we went, yeah, full retard on that with independent suspension, chassis and all that stuff. So that one will take a much longer than we originally planned, because the original plan was just to fit the Bentley engine in, put a turbo system in the front and just leave it as it is. And then turns out to be a little bit more complicated by kind of a must, and not even a must because the engine could stay in the front, but we will have to run a big compromises because it's massively wide, and that took obviously a different step. We decided to put the engine in the middle because we liked it this way. When I'm saying we liked it, the customer liked it this way even more. Again, I agree because I do like it as well. I see the point in the pointless build, so it went that direction. Now stuff escalated even quicker. There you go. If you don't know what we're talking about, check out the latest, the videos before I explain everything. So here we go. This is the Ford F1 1951, and I am very impressed by the state of this chassis. When it came to me, it was dirty. You couldn't see what's underneath. It seemed healthy, but I was like, well, you know, it's 70 years old, so let me check if it really is. And Steve, before you even know it, he was like, you know what, I take the angle around it and I clean it with a brush cleaner, which it was great. However, never again, because he's done an amazing job. It's like I couldn't do it because I don't have patience. He stuff like this very quickly. He didn't. He cleaned it all. But believe me, 70 years old dirt from the chassis was everywhere in the workshop. So this is the stuff we know, we learn, we shouldn't do ever again. The dirt is in my office, on the printer, on the desk, in the toilet, on the engines, absolutely everywhere. My MR3 is completely covered. Everything was just covered in dust and 70-year-old Missouri or Californian dirt. So we learned that, never again. This is supposed to be sandblasted. He haven't done it in time. I should actually ask you to do it. However, that problem was sorted. Steve cleaned it. It took me an hour after to clean the workshop, which I still haven't because you can't really get rid of that stuff completely, but there you go. We have a clean chassis. As you know, I've seen you in the previous video, they put the new engine in this chassis way inside the body in a very quick way. I have to remove these old engine mounts, which they've been kind of like a cross member, I don't know what it is. And I've tried kind of with my plasma cutter, which will be the quickest and the easiest way. However, this stuff is so thick. This is about 7-8 mil thick. The thinnest plates, the thickest are about 15 mil. So I'm guessing they just use the stuff they had around, like I do in my builds, but not as crazy. So my plasma was just cutting off. So it's back to my old good friend. Never gives up, even on the thick stuff. So now I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna remove what's left from those cross members because again they chopped it in half. Plus I guess my gearbox and the engine, whatever is gonna be there. So we don't need that. I will have to kind of reinforce the chassis just to keep it stable when I put the engine in, because the engine obviously and the gearbox weights a little bit. And if you're gonna put it just a weight in the middle on some temporary engine mounts or whatever, I'm worried that the chassis may twist a little bit, which you can tell it really does. It's like you can move it by hand and twist in everything. which you may think, okay, this is crazy, how come they build a chassis like this that it twists just because you put your hand on it? I mean, these are side steps. You put your foot in and they twist, say yes. However, this is not the way they design the chassis. The chassis was designed with those cross members in between. Now when they put that gearbox and engine in, they remove that cross member, so they remove the whole reinforcement that stops the chassis from twisting side to side to put a mount for the gearbox, and that mount was just a piece of flat, this very thin, it's like 4mm, which again this won't stop anything from twisting this way. So the chassis was twisting again, and they kind of ruined it, which I'm surprised about. This huge cross member engine mounts with a leftover steel, massively thick, up to 15 or even thicker material, which is that thick underneath, and they've done something like this to a cross member which is structurally important. But it doesn't matter. I guess some farmer done it because his engine blew up and he had another engine in the junkyard, I don't know. However, who cares? We have to clean this stuff, and I have to put the cab on the top, which I'm trying to do today, but unfortunately in UK we see in holiday no one works but me in the workshop in the whole industrial estate, and Steve's supposed to come over today. Turns out he can't, so I'm not sure if I will be able to put the cab on my own. However, I'm used to work on my own and do difficult stuff, so I don't know, maybe I'll figure something out. We'll see. For now, clean this up and put the cab on, because once I have the cab on, I can actually work out the position of the gearbox and the engine. The engine is still in the crate, I can take it off, I can couple it with the gearbox temporarily, just as a mock-up, and put it inside the chassis, find the best position, because then I need to put the front end, the fenders, with the whole front end, which this is the support for front end. Believe or not, this is not broken. This is actually fit on the springs, on some rubbery bits, and it's flexible. It's supposed to flex somehow for some reason. And yeah, and see how much space we have for the turbo system, because the turbo is not small. I think we're going for the single one, not twin. But again, this decision has to be made because we need this first step. Cab on, engine in place, and see how much space we have. Because this should be kind of a sleeper, like an old truck, but we don't want turbo sticking out the bonnet or anything like this, nothing that gives it away. So you think this is like 30 brake horsepower, 1951 old truck, and then you get a surprise for the nasty 1200 brakes or whatever you're gonna make. So that's what we're trying to do here. All right, we put it on the time lapse, and well, simply let's build this thing. Light off quickly. Now let me go inside the chassis so I'll show you what's going on inside here. Oh, I'm getting older now, not as athletic as I used to be. So as you can see, everything is, well, like here, everything is joined together by this giant rivets, like a marine style rivets, okay, and they work, obviously 70 years old, and they're still intact, they're still in one piece and holds everything nice and solid, so that's not a problem. And this is the way I removed it. I just drilled, well, flattened all the rivets and then knocked them out, because obviously this was actually there, here, inserted there. Obviously I can't put it on now with one hand, but you know what I mean. Cut the rivets, remove it. Why? You see why you haven't just chopped it off clean from the chassis? Well, because we want this build to be nice. and do it proper, not just, you know, bodge the stuff together, make it look good outside, and then when you go closer to the quality of the build, you're gonna find like a lot of this stuff which is like cutting the corners. We don't want to do it. This is the old brake cylinder, which should potentially come off. No, maybe. Did I remove all of them? Yes. I didn't knock the bottom ones completely, but I think if I wiggle this down a little, let me put you here, this may come off. Oh, the legs of the camera, there you go. This potentially should come off. Yes. There you go. The whole lot. That one not going to be needed anymore as well. Some old brake fluid coming off as well. And all of this is scrap. Although maybe that old brake cylinder, because it still works, it's actually not much rust on it, may be valuable for someone. I mean, it's original 1951. So yeah, actually if you need something from this thing, from this chassis, the whole front axle, which has been covered with the big disc brakes, and also the whole rear axle with the original leaf springs, I can actually remove these. Well, I will remove these mounts from, look, nice greaser as well, from the rivets, so you can put it back all together completely standard, the whole mount, this one and the rear mount. I remove it as a one piece. If someone's rebuilding one of these trucks and want it all original, you can, you know, give me a shout, and I'll speak with George, see how much does he want for it. Probably not much. Yeah, because all we're doing, we're keeping the chassis. Actually, if you ask why using this chassis, could you just build a new one? Well, if you didn't ask that, then I'm telling you, this was my first idea. I was like, you know what's the point using this old piece of crap chassis? Let's do a new one, because it's so simple. But to be honest, once Steve cleaned it from all of this stuff, turns out it is old, but it's not a piece of crap. It's in a very good condition. There's no rust, like I said before. So we say, you know what, it will be much more valuable, and I think much better job, because again, I do respect stuff like this, which is very old but kept in a good condition, well, apart the engine mounts and the engine conversion they've done. So, you know, I think we're gonna ruin it if we're not gonna use this chassis. So we're using this one. Obviously I'm gonna put some bigger reinforcement and all the stuff, and the whole front end is gonna be changed, because we need something on the independent suspensions, not wheelbarrow style front suspension. This is obviously not up to the job. A proper steering with a proper steering rack, and, you know, good suspensions, probably on the air, proper disc brakes front and back. I mean, we're trying to get this thing to hand. Well, talking about handling is a bit difficult, but let's say we're trying to get it to steer roughly and to slow down roughly. If you can achieve that, that's good. Anything above that is a bonus. So this is gonna be good. But I have to remove these two. Don't know what these are. I'm not sure why they chopped it with the plasma, when all you can do is just remove these bolts. I don't know. Even if you don't have a tool, just chop them off and then it comes off. I don't know. I will have to remove these, but that will be on a later date. I don't have to do it now. All I need to do is this U-shape flexible, that's right, that's how it works, flexible mount for the fenders, for the front end, because we need to put that cab under the chassis. I need it on these mounts, which I believe are these, or these two, and then this one in the middle here. I don't know, I'm not really sure. We're gonna find out, I guess. Maybe these two as well, I don't know. We're gonna find out, but obviously I can't do it on my own, because the cab, although is light, but I can't lift it on my own. I'm not that strong, and it will be awkward anyways. Like, how do you grab it? If the Crazy Frog wasn't on the ramp, I could use the ramp to lift it, drive this underneath, and then pull it back on the ramp. I could do it on my own, but the crazy frog is on the ramp, and unfortunately I can't, well I could, but it would be too much hassle, move it because the Silvia is in the front, which means I will have to open the workshop, drive the Silvia on the front, lower this, put the frog down off the ramp, put it here. It means I have to move this stuff as well, which is sounds like too much of a work. And luckily Steve said, I'm not in the workshop today, but if you need a hand, give me a shout. I said, you know what, this would be great if you just pop down and give me a hand just to put a cab under the chassis, and that's all I need. That's the only thing I can do on my own fast, because obviously the other way will be to move all of this stuff, but again it's too much of a time. So I hope he's gonna pop down soon and give me a hand with that, because I really want to put this engine on and see how it fits. Exciting. I want to do it today. So yeah, so turns out it was easier than I thought. You can't do it on your own. Bit heavy for one person. It's awkward to grab it because it's all kind of, not saying sharp edges, but when you grab it from the bottom, it's just all panel edges and it cuts through your fingers. So, but the cab is on, is in a position, so that's all I need for now. I guess now I can grab the engine, which I guess I have to take the Silvia out anyway, because I have to drag it here first, then put it on the crane and position, but obviously that is in the way. So, but happy days, bit of a progress. That's good. Not much space here, is it? I don't know how far the front comes up, but I guess to here, roughly. So, we'll see. Alright, let's bring the engine over. Alright, so if you ever wondered how much does an LSX 376 without the sump though. There's everything inside but no sump. Well, there is a sump, there is a metal sump just to protect it, because obviously we've got already some to put it on. But this is the bare engine, all complete with the massive pulley though. I'm pretty sure if I remove this pulley, that's gonna save a couple of kilograms at least. However, this is how much it weighs. Yeah, there's nothing attached, blah blah, it's all clean. 200.1 kilograms. I can safely probably call it 200 kilograms. Now, as perspective, and again, this is not the aluminium block, this is the iron block. This is the stronger one, built for boost. However, if you want that, how much are 1.9 TDI weight, including the gearbox, including the plenum, including the exhaust manifold and the turbo and the alternator and the belt and the tensioner and the oil filter housing and the starter motor, pretty much complete. This weighs 215 or 220 kilograms, I can't remember. There is a scale when we show it on the scale when we build my Frog MR2 1.9 TDI conversion. We put on the scale the original engine, the K24 complete, and one of these complete, and I remember it was 220 kilograms, all complete. Well, that's bare LSX 376, which in my eyes is not much. It's hell of an engine. I mean, that thing, obviously with the turbo system, will deliver over 1,000 brakes, so it's not bad, these LS engines. And again, this is iron, not aluminium. If you get an Ali block, then obviously it's going to be lighter. So yeah, I no wonder why this engine is so popular. It's small. I mean, for what it is, it's small. This is not big and definitely not heavy, even the iron block. So, you know, yeah. Well, now it's time to unbox this. There's a bit of things inside. There's a plenum inside, and but what I need just for now is actually not the plenum, which we can remove, but something that lies under that box of the plenum. So I'm doing this with my hand. We got a big Holly. It's this baby here, TH400 4-speed build. This is not standard. Trans brake, big bell housing and all the stuff. So we still don't have a torque converter because, again, the company we ordered the gearbox from, they give you a possibility to set up your torque converter. Obviously, if you set up wrong, you can send them back to them. I don't know how many times, but quite a lot. You can really get it pretty much perfect. But obviously we have to send the torque converter back to them, which is in America, so it's not really convenient. I'm pretty sure for us this is not a competition car, so I'm pretty much, what we're gonna guess is what we're gonna get, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna guess very close to what we need anyway. Again, we're not building this truck to compete in a quarter of a mile. It's gonna be quick, so if the torque converter locks a couple hundred RPM sooner or later, it doesn't really make big difference to us. Plus, again, with the trans brake, you can build boost up before launch it. Plus, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a torque converter to stall a little earlier than it should be for a proper launch in a quarter of a mile, because this is gonna be driven on the street as well. So you don't want a torque converter to stall at 3,500 RPMs or 4,000 or 5,000. You won't be able to kind of cruise on the reasonable RPMs. So that's good. Well, let's go ahead, unpack the gearbox, put it on the engine, and try to fit it. I got some feeling that kind of a tunnel won't be big enough. This bed housing is pretty big, and I'm pretty sure I want to put the engine as far back to the firewall as possible, you know, because it's gonna be good for the weight distribution and all that stuff. And obviously we need as much space up front as possible for this little baby here. Little, it's not very little, but I mean, if you watch my videos and all that stuff, what we build, this is not really enormous, but it's definitely not small. This is, yeah, well, it is pretty big. I'm talking shit here. It is pretty big. Yeah. HE 500 WG. It is pretty big, and still was well, obviously with a billet wheel and all the stuff, and with a nice, pretty small exhaust housing. 4¼ inch downpipe straight from the exhaust, so I like that. However, I will have to probably, oh Jesus, this is heavy. I'm probably weak today from, as you've seen, dragging that engine over there. However, it was a massive effort, to be honest, because maybe because I'm kind of half Italian. When I say half Italian, means I grew up in Italy. Maybe some old school Roman blood goes through my veins, so I use my old Roman technique. It's not really technique, is it? You put the pipes underneath of the box and you make a scroll through the pipe, so it really is effortless, no matter how much the stuff weighs. I actually move my milling machine the same way, and you just push it with one hand, no matter how heavy it is. However, yes, I did put some effort to drag this stuff out, and I'm tired, so maybe that's why this turbo weighs so much, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to hear that. You want to just see how this turbo looks like. So yeah, this is 4 1/4 inch. But as you see, this is like a special V-band flange. You can't put a normal V-band flange, but because I can remove the exhaust housing, and it looks like there's enough space between this and the spacing between this and the flange, I can put on my lathe, and I can probably machine this down to get a normal 4¼ inch. Oh, there's a Steve arrived in my Merc. Yeah, I got too many cars, so he uses the Merc. And I can machine it down to 4 inch maybe, or 4¼ normal V-band like this. We're not gonna use this exhaust housing because it's an internal gate, and internal gates are, I would say, gay, but oh yeah, oh shit, I forgot.
Sorry, I need a pee.
I forgot. Steve, come over to give me a hand to put the cab on there.
And you've done it.
I forgot. Oh well. He's gonna give me a hand to do something else, maybe, or just hold the camera, or I don't know, maybe get this gearbox out of the box. However, yes, that's why I want a gearbox, do the engine as much as on the firewood as possible. Oh, and this engine just get lighter. 199.9 kilograms. So there you go. Must be good vibes in the workshop. However, today is holiday. No one works in this business park. No one is around, which I love. I get no disturbed by no one. Right, so let's go ahead and do more stuff. Well, that didn't take long. This morning was just a chassis. What do you think? It looks so tiny.
It does.
Once you got the carbon against it.
That's perfect.
I think this is enough space for the subframe suspensions, and it's not low enough.
You can access all the bolts.
Yes.
I mean, obviously there's going to be more body there, but still, it's like.
The bit is, if it is too low, once you get access, I can raise it, and I got plenty of space for it, no problems.
Yeah. Height is not a problem.
No, height is not a problem here. I think. Where's the plenum? Oh, there. I think I really want the plenum now. motion is tight, it's packed with bits and cars. Let me put the camera here for a sec. The top is here. Yep.
Yes. Now that looks amazing.
Now we're talking.
Oh, my phone's run out of batteries. Fuck.
Now we're talking. I do like it. Do you know what? I think I will even like it if you leave the carb, like the paint job as it is, just rough. Obviously we can't because we're in UK and everything will rust and fall apart within a couple of weeks, but I would probably like it, just leave it as it is, bare metal. Shame we can't. Ah well, now we have to position the turbo and then put the side panels and the front and see how much space we got.